life, they're very good at sitting in front of the tube with their popcorn and their Coke and their Pepsi, right, and their Big Macs, and watching sports, and then become the Monday morning quarterback. Oh! And you know what I love? I love the comparisons. And you know, Richard Sherman said something poignant and very well. You know, he made a comparison when they were denigrating him for what he did after the finals, the NFC finals, when Seattle won. And talking about violence and all this kind of stuff. But you never hear them talk about hockey players in that way. And then they were making the comparison when LeBron James had a cramp. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to say this for the first time on this program in the Village with Anselm and the South Orange Maple Online Radio Experience. For a person, that's me, who have established 8 world records in Masters track and field, I know firsthand what cramps is all about. You know, there's also a quote that says, you don't know until you walk a mile in a man's shoes. If you don't know, have never experienced anything with a cramp, don't criticize and denigrate LeBron James. Because if you get a cramp, or you get half of the cramp that LeBron had, you would have been out. And I say this, you know, sometimes you are in the privacy of your room and you are having a good time, if you know what I mean, and you get a cramp, what do you do? Think about it. What do you do? What? Think about it. What do you do when you get a cramp in that wonderful time where you're having a good time and then a cramp just happens? And some of the first comparisons you hear on the sports radio program, well, the hockey players, they play with broken pinkies. They play with kneecaps that are bent. They play with eyes that are... hockey, come on. There's no comparison. And then after they got those comparisons with hockey, then they went to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played with 102 fever. No comparison. None. Zero. You know, it was like a hate LeBron day after that game with people who had no experience. Zero. With what a cramp was all about. Zero. None. But they want to jump and make conclusions and make comparisons about what he should do, what he shouldn't do. And you know what? Look at it. In the second game, what happened? I mean, you know, these sports, these non-sports guys who never even run a 2-meter dash in their life. 2-meter dash in their life. You know? It's and you know what? I want to get to one other thing. And I'm kind of digressing here. California Chrome lost the Belmont stake. And the owner raised a point. And if you know anything about sports, it's a very valid point. But again, many of those people who know exactly nothing about sports, when the guy said, the Triple Crown, the horses should run in each and every one of the races. And here is my example of that. Let's say you go to the Olympics and there's the 100-meter dash. In order to get to the final, you have to run the heats, quarterfinals, semifinal, and finals. So you got to run 4 races to get to the finals. All right? If you were supposed to not run the heats, quarterfinal, and semifinal, and they just put you in the final, there's a great possibility, you're going to be one of those guys that end up with a medal. And you just might beat Usain Bolt. Just might. Because you have to utilize energy, you have to utilize muscles, you have to utilize everything. So when the owner trainer talks about all the horses should be running the same 3 races. I agree with him because I know what it's like to run heats, quarterfinals, semifinal, and finals. But again, the Monday morning horsebacks, if you get that one, change from quarterback to Monday morning horsebacks. The Monday morning horsebacks are saying that, well, it doesn't make a difference. He don't have to run. It's only because he lost. That's why he's saying, yes, maybe that's true. Maybe the reason why he lost, he's saying it. But he has a point. Think about what he's saying. He has a point. He has a point. It's like going to the Olympics and going straight to the finals and not having to run heats, quarterfinal, and semifinal. Just imagine if you can go to the finals, the Olympic final in the 400, the Olympic final in the 800, the Olympic final in the 1500, the Olympic final in the 10,000. You don't have to do high jump. You don't have to do all those jumps that take you straight to the final. So you only have to do 4 or 5 jumps. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. So that was just a little of the sports analogy there for you. But of course, we are talking about the Common Core. And if we want to close the achievement gap, the Common Core is not going to help closing the achievement gap. It's not going to help. So I want to play this. So many of us will have some hope regarding the Common Core.
Hello, my friend. It may seem a little strange to have a bear talking to you, but as you well know, these are strange times and tough times, and someone who cares about you wanted me to remind you to hang on, hang in, and have hope. Tough times don't require you to be tough on yourself, and things don't have to be good for you to be great. Have hope. Sometimes having less in life can be worth more. Be proud of who you are. Have hope. Greatness isn't ahead of you, but within you. Don't confuse what you have with who you are, and don't let the past kidnap your future. Have hope. At the end of the day, hope for the best. Make peace with the rest. Leave your fears behind and put your faith in charge. Peace and blessings.
And that is to say that in spite of all that I say, we still have to have hope. We must have hope. Because according to Martin Luther King Jr., the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Let me repeat that. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the times of challenge and controversy. And Mahatma Gandhi said, silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting accordingly. Silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting accordingly. Mahatma Gandhi. So, I know there are a lot of people who sort of cringe when they hear the word level comes up in South Orange and Maplewood. Because for some reason, people believe that the level process is a good process. And I say this. And Dr. Noguera, who is an expert in the achievement gap, have also said this. If you're in a school system and you're going to put the best teachers with the best kids, problems. The best teachers are supposed to be the kids who need the most help. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a losing baseball team. Do you take a bad manager or a football team or a soccer team? Do you take one of the worst managers and put him with a team that's really bad? Do you do that? I mean, look at the New York Knicks. They were losing for many years. And then they brought in a new coach. And it was a difference. It just so happened they lost this year. But you don't take losing coaches and put them with losing teams. You try to take winning coaches. I mean, think about it. They have tried to recruit John Calipari from Kentucky for the longest while. They have tried to recruit Mike Krzyzewski from Duke for the longest while to come to the NBA. Why is that? Because they are winning coaches. They can instill, that winning mentality on these players. Think about it. Mark Jackson, he went to Golden State Warriors. He never coached in his life, but he had a winning mentality. He had a winning mentality, and he instilled that in them. And for 2 years, they were winners. So in the school system, we should take the best teachers and give them to the kids that need the most help. That's right. Because the kids that are performing at a high level going to do that anyway. They're gonna produce anyway. I mean, let me just go back to baseball. You know Mariano Rivera is going to be the best closer in baseball. Really and truly, it didn't matter what coach Mariano Rivera, you know he was going to be the best closer. You know that. So it didn't matter where you put Mariano Rivera. You could have put him in Kansas City. He would have still had 30 or so saves per year. And I'm making this analogy with the school system. It seems we have it the wrong or upside down, where we put the best with the best and we put some of the not so good with the mediocre. It doesn't work anywhere. And these are things that we need to really address in these towns of South Orange and Maplewood. And until we decide to address these things, we're going to have the achievement gap expanding instead of narrowing. When we want to implement things like the Common Core, we're going to have the achievement gap expanding instead of narrowing, instead of closing that achievement gap. When we want to continue to have levels and continue to keep these kids in these low levels and don't expect a lot from them, we need to do like the way they do it in the prep schools. The prep school expect all of their kids and they give them all an equal education. And I never knew about leveling until I came to the United States of America. In the Caribbean, we didn't have levels. We didn't have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, AP classes, honors classes. At least in Trinidad and Tobago, we didn't have it. Or maybe they had it and I didn't know about it. But there was no leveling. And there were kids that were a little more intelligent than other kids. And the kids that were more intelligent weren't held back by the kids that were less intelligent. None of that happened. None of that stuff happened. But as soon as you talk about getting rid of levels, that's the first thing you're going to hear. Oh, these kids are going to hold back the other kids. They're going to keep them back and so on and so forth. Now, you know what? Let's try it and see what happens. And I got to give, in the elementary school, I know they have eliminated levels at certain grades in the school system of South Orange and Maplewood. Excellent. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Time check is approximately 9:30 p.m. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up.
The South Orange Maplewood Community Coalition on Race presents its first annual Cultural Heritage Festival on June 14, 2014 at the Maplewood Memorial Park from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come enjoy food, crafts, and merchandise from the Caribbean, USA, Mexico, Africa, Italy, India, Thailand, Greece, and many other countries. Delight in ethnic dancers and musicians. Partake in free cultural activities of all kinds, including belly dancing, story time, multicultural Zumba, Tai Chi, limbo, Israeli dancing, origami, face painting, just to name